Hey guys, welcome back to my channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be talking about a brand new company on the channel. The name of this company is Kontrol Technologies. They're a small cap operator here in Canada and the United States, and they're really focused on providing software that enables more energy efficiency within commercial buildings. Now I'm super excited to talk about this company for a number of reasons that we're going to go into in this video. They just came out with earnings, so we're going to discuss that as well. And they've got a couple of wild cards up their sleeve that could lead to some major growth over the next couple of years. Now before we get into the video, please take a second to smash the like button, you guys. It's 100% free to do, and it really helps both myself and the channel out in a big way. It helps get this content to other people like yourself who may find value. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below if you've heard of Kontrol Tech before, if you're currently maybe holding shares, and what you think about their future growth prospects moving forward. Now without further ado, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today we're going to be discussing Kontrol Technologies Corporation. This is a small cap company based here in Canada. Ticker symbol on this one is KNR. It trades on the NEO exchange here in Canada and on the OTC in the US under the ticker symbol KNRLF. Now this is a super exciting video for me for a number of reasons, you guys. So number one, I have a buddy of mine who's invested in KNR. He wanted me to get a deep dive out on this company and see how my analysis compares to the research that he's done on Kontrol Tech. Secondly, they have a really interesting business model with a couple wild cards up their sleeves. We're going to talk about that in a second here. And finally, it fits the channel niche very well in the sense that it's a small cap company, it's Canadian based, and it really does live into the ESG type of mantra, similar to a lot of the companies we've been recently discussing on this channel. Now, in terms of what Kontrol Technologies is actually about, they're a smart technology company that's focused on energy efficiency within commercial buildings here in Canada and in the United States. Now, they offer a number of different products, the most notable SmartSite, SmartSuite, and the wildcard BioCloud. Now, we're going to talk about each of these in more detail throughout the presentation here. They just also came out with quarterly earnings. So in terms of video format, we're going to talk about some recent news at Kontrol. Then we're going to look at the business model, jump into the investor presentation, do a deep dive on these guys for you, and then we'll talk about my bullish thesis on Kontrol Technologies moving forward and a couple reasons why I think this may be an interesting stock to start keeping a close eye on over the next couple of months here. Now before we get into all of that, I did want to look at the chart on this one. So as you can see, they're trading in a very similar spot to where they were a year ago. So in the back half of August 2020, they were trading in that $1.60, $1.75 type of range. Now, as you can see, Kontrol had a number of big runs throughout the year, almost touching that $5, $6 type of price point. The first run here, September 7th, they hit a high of $4.88 a share. Then towards the end of September 2020, they came in at $4.98 a share. And then February 1st of this year, they actually cracked the $5 mark. Now, a lot of this price movement was due to speculation around their BioCloud solution or technology. And we're going to talk about that piece towards the end of the video, but this is really the wild card for this company and could be a potentially huge game changer for Kontrol Technologies. And this is why we really saw some of those big price jumps within the last 12 months here at KNR. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with this company, maybe it's the first time you're watching a video about Kontrol Technologies, I did want to just give a high-level summary about what they do before we get into the recent news articles. So as mentioned, they're focused on smart technology to really drive energy efficiency within buildings, and Kontrol is really looking to lead the digital transformation of buildings and the built environment in general. So if you scroll down here on their home landing page, you'll see smart, healthy, and sustainable buildings is really the goal at Kontrol Technologies. Kontrol delivers enhanced intelligence through IoT technology or Internet of Things and solutions to create smart, healthy, and sustainable buildings. Our customers are leaders who share our passion for reducing energy consumption, lowering greenhouse gas emissions, and creating safe and healthy spaces for their employees, customers, and stakeholders. And that's exactly why this company fits within the ESG, environmental social governance category of stocks, and why I thought it was a perfect fit for my channel. So essentially, Kontrol uses their technology and software to really streamline building operations, and as a result, the buildings consume less energy and give off fewer emissions. Now, in terms of recent news, there's two things that I wanted to cover in this section. So number one, Q2 results for 2021. This just came out on Monday, August 16th. So you can see first line here, revenue is up 83% year over year. If we scroll down to the financial highlights, you can see revenue came in at $4.2 million, which was up 83% from Q2 of 2020. Now keep in mind, you guys, this company is under $100 million Canadian market cap. Its market cap as of close on Thursday is sitting right around $80 million. So $4.2 million in top line revenue, or $7.5 million in the first half of 2021, is definitely attractive for a company of this size. Now, in addition to the strong revenue growth, they posted positive net income in Q2 for the first time in the company's history. So obviously that's phenomenal to see as a prospective investor in Kontrol. Now, for full disclosure, I personally do not own any shares in KNR at this point in time. However, I have added this one to my watch list, and I will keep you guys posted if and when I do decide to pull the trigger on some shares. Now, moving along here, adjusted EBITDA came in at $1.1 million, which is an increase of 175% from Q2 of last year. And in terms of the first half of the year, so the 6-month period, adjusted EBITDA was positive $2.2 million, which is up 246% over the first half of 2020. So obviously some huge growth at this company, and as we move through their investor presentation, you're going to see their roadmap or growth path over the next couple of years is definitely very aggressive. Now, a couple other points I wanted to touch on here quickly before we move into the investor presentation. In terms of working capital, nearly $9 million here, you guys, so almost 10% of their market cap is sitting in cash, and that's after they actually paid off $3 million in debt within the quarter. Now, in terms of their BioCloud technology, I wanted to save the best for last here. So you can see two big points in relation to BioCloud in this earnings release. Number one, they actually provided this technology for the Canadian Olympic Committee in Tokyo this year. So that's a massive step for Kontrol and really gets their technology out front and center with the public. And the other point here, which is subsequent to Q2, they actually received nearly $1 million, so $800,000 of funding from the Ontario Together Foundation for their BioCloud technology and additional research. And as mentioned, I really think this could be the game changer for this company. We saw a minute ago how the share price can move extremely quickly when news around BioCloud comes out. And I think this really could propel the company to the $5, $10 type of range if and when they start to see some mainstream adoption of this technology. Now, the final point here, you guys, Kontrol did give a full year revenue forecast in the range of $38 million, which is actually up from $13 million in 2020. So nearly triple the revenue this year versus last year. And again, on a market cap of $80 million, you guys, they're essentially trading at 2 times current year revenue. Now, this is the article talking about BioCloud devices at the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games here. I'm not going to go into detail on this specific article, but I would highly encourage you guys to take a look. In terms of international events, the Olympics is definitely one of the biggest in the world, and this is a phenomenal venue for Kontrol to really advertise their BioCloud solution or devices. So now that we know what Kontrol Technologies does, we've looked at their share price, we've talked about some of the recent earnings that just came out from this company, I wanted to jump into the investor presentation. We're going to kick it off with a corporate overview here. So we've talked about what the company's mission statement is. They're really in the business of establishing a leadership position by delivering autonomous buildings that are smart, clean, and sustainable. Now, you're going to see the word autonomous come up a number of times in this presentation, and that really is where this company feels like the future of building monitoring and maintenance are really going. Now, second point here, they've got a robust portfolio of intellectual property, and that really creates a moat or protects this company from competitors or new entrants. And their SmartSite and SmartSuite solutions are actually actively collecting data day in and day out. So they now have over 60 billion data records, which is in turn optimizing their technology and providing their clients with even better or more enhanced results. They've got multiple revenue streams. We're going to look at this in a second here. So they've got their software revenue, service revenue, and the actual project or installation revenue. They've got a deep bench of blue chip customers or companies that they currently work with, many of which are major real estate management and asset management firms. And this slide here really gives you a feel for some of the clients they work with. So Beyond Meat, we've talked about that one on the channel. Oxford Management Group, Manulife, Brookfield Asset Management, Lafarge, Suncor, TELUS. These are some of Canada's biggest companies and in a number of different industries. And then the final point here really talks about their growth strategy or those aggressive growth targets, which I just mentioned. They're rapidly capturing market share with a target of 25% plus annual growth, whether that's through organic or acquisition-based activity. Now, as you can see, very low float on this company, under 48 million shares, so trading at $1.83. That's where we get that market cap in the $80 million range, so under $100 million market cap, which is great. These are the types of companies that I really like to invest in because there is massive upside potential. 30% of these shares are actually owned by insiders. And you can see over the past year, a lot of price movement here, you guys. They hit an intraday high of $6.64 a share, all the way down to 50 cents a share. So if you are looking to buy some shares of Kontrol at these current prices under $2, you really are getting in closer to the low end of the range in the last 12 months here, which is again great if you're able to time it like that. And now we're really going to start talking about why I think KNR could be such a lucrative investment here. So this slide really talks about the building technology super cycle. So whether it's old buildings or new buildings that are just coming online, Kontrol sees commercial building modernization as one of the best points of convergence between sustainability and technology in the world right now. Now they've also got one of the largest installed bases in the world in terms of smart technology. And they really believe we're only in the early stages of commercial building modernization and that we're now just entering this super cycle in North America specifically and Europe. Now they call out 5 specific reasons why they feel like building modernization is here to stay. So number 1, rising energy costs. We're all familiar with that. Whether residential, commercial, gas for your vehicle, we've seen prices go up across the board. Second point here, aging installed base. So a lot of the customers that they've already installed are due for renewal or need some upgrades with their systems. Property and building management companies are looking for operational savings to improve their overall margins and numbers. So this is a great way to do that. Fourth point here, this is not unique to this industry, but obviously there's a major push right now for net zero emissions, ESG convergence, which we talked about a couple of slides ago, and really ensuring buildings and our societies and cities are impacting the environment as little as possible. And then the fifth point here, we've seen this one more so in the US, but massive increase in government-funded infrastructure projects and spending. So that leads us to this slide here, you guys. What is really the total addressable market for this type of technology? And Kontrol is estimating that this is $100 billion a year or annual addressable market. So 70% or about $70 billion of this opportunity is really to do with cutting down on energy waste. The other 30% or $30 billion is really focused on emission compliance and ensuring that buildings are hitting those aggressive greenhouse gas emission targets. And that's really the stat they call out here. Buildings are producing about 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions in North America. And that was a stat that was pretty astonishing for me. I know agriculture is a big contributor, but I really didn't realize that buildings were having that big of impact on the environment. Now back on the left here, in terms of the energy opportunity, about 30% of energy going into buildings is actually lost or ends up being wasted. And in terms of the total size or square footage of commercial buildings here in North America, Canada, and the US, we're looking at over 90 billion square feet. So you can see in terms of total addressable market, you guys, the numbers here are massive, and Kontrol is really only scratching the surface of this industry or this opportunity. Now this slide is interesting because it really shows the evolution of buildings and society here. So in the past, commercial property was really managed on a regional basis. There were small private companies that managed a small percentage of the overall building portfolio within a city. There were ad hoc solutions or building controls put in place, oftentimes built specifically for that property with no integration between the platforms. Now, future state, as Kontrol sees it, is consolidation of these fragmented regional markets They see integrated technology and solution platforms that really speak between different buildings and properties, which ultimately is going to lead to companies like this having an increased market share on a per building basis. So you can see the graphic on the right here. In the past, buildings had no intelligence. I, in my own mind, just picture a maintenance man running around the building, trying to fix broken heaters, leaking pipes, whatever the case is. We then move into the limited intelligence phase. This is really when the internet started to come into the picture. And the future here, or current state, integrated intelligence. So multiple different systems all running in unison, creating real-time data and analytics for the building that's making autonomous decisions to optimize that building's performance and energy consumption. So this slide now really starts to talk about the intellectual property and the portfolio of patented products that Kontrol Technologies currently has. So you can see multiple patents in both the US and Canada. They've got over 60 billion data points from their software, and that's growing day by day. And here's the different technologies at the bottom that we talked about in the initial intro. So SmartMax is a platform that can be integrated with any legacy building automation system quickly and easily. Once SmartMax is installed in the property, we then move over to what's called the Smart Network. So once the installation is complete, a Smart Network is stood up. And once this Smart Network is up and running, they can then choose to add additional capabilities that will further enhance the building's operations. Now, SmartSite Cloud is really focused on data collection. So real-time analytics and information from these properties is collected through the building's existing internet connection. It's then transferred to the cloud, and that's where Kontrol really analyzes this data within the SmartSite platform. And then the result of this software integration and data collection is really the control, analytics, and artificial intelligence that the building owner or manager will immediately gain access to. And from here, they can then make decisions that can better optimize their property. So you'll have access to such things as energy data, real-time analytics, how much the building is saving because of some of these automated solutions, and access via the cloud to performance stats metrics about the various properties. So this slide here really shows a visual of what the SmartSite dashboard looks like for an end user. So you can see here various buildings are displayed with real-time analytics on each. And Kontrol also calls out a few reasons why customers are choosing their software and their solution over some of the competitors. So they've got open protocol architecture, they've got the ability to integrate additional data sources, smart learning algorithms and artificial intelligence, which we've mentioned. They've got the ability to access or plug into legacy automated systems, lower overall cost to the customer, and greater savings. So again, a way for companies to realize operational savings. In terms of the installation, they harness Wi-Fi, mesh networks, and Bluetooth, which makes the actual integration or setup quite easy compared to a lot of the competitors. They've got the single integrated platform, which we see here, so people can actually manage, monitor, and control their properties from one central location. And then the final point here, because of all the data that they're able to collect, they can actually provide predictive maintenance schedules and asset management recommendations from the data collected on the cloud. So now that we've looked at the total addressable market, the opportunity that Kontrol Tech really sees in this industry, we've looked at some of their different software and solutions. This slide really shifts gears and talks about their diversified revenue mix. So you can see 60% of their revenue roughly comes from the actual projects, the installation services themselves. Gross margins on the projects category is the lowest of the three segments. However, it's still very healthy at 30%. 10% of revenue comes from software. Obviously, software has great margins, so 80% margin on the software division. And then the final 30% of revenue actually comes from service. And again, phenomenal margins here, you guys. Double what they see on the projects and a 60% gross margin for the service category itself. So as a potential investor in this company, I love to see diversified revenue. They go out, they install their solution, and then customers pay them month in and month out recurring revenue stream for the use of the software and the service that they receive. So on the topic of revenue, this is their growth path over the next couple of fiscal years here. So you can see displayed 2020 to 2024. Similar to the last slide, they break out the revenue based on the three categories, so software, service, and project or installation. And you can see on the left here, Kontrol estimates that 1,000 buildings will generate about $100 million in revenue. So more than their entire market cap at today's valuation. Now, as of 2021, Kontrol currently has 300 buildings in their portfolio. They estimate that to double by 2022, up to 600 buildings, 900 buildings by 2023, and an additional 300 buildings by 2024. So they should hit this 1,000 building milestone somewhere in the early part of 2024 or the back half of 2023 if they're able to exceed their growth targets in the next couple of years. So phenomenal growth here at this company, you guys. They're planning to bring on about 300 buildings a year. And keep in mind here, you guys, these revenue projections do not factor any BioCloud activity into the equation. So to wrap things up for Kontrol's traditional business division here, how do customers win with Kontrol? And ultimately, what value does Kontrol provide to its end users? So they call out a couple of points on the right here, you guys. It really breaks down to energy savings in CO2 or greenhouse gas emissions. So in terms of energy savings, over 200 million kilowatt hours each and every year saved between their current installed base or customers, and 142 million kilograms of CO2 that has been reduced or is no longer being put into the environment. So some massive numbers here, and a company that you can really feel good about investing in because they are ultimately helping cities and society in general to become greener and more eco-friendly. Now, in terms of the payback period here, you guys, customers are going to see an internal rate of return in excess of 30% within the first 3 or less years of installing this solution. So pretty compelling case for customers or businesses when you look at it from that lens. And then as mentioned here, currently 60 billion data records on file or within their cloud platform, which is growing each and every day as more and more data is uploaded to the cloud. Now this slide here really talks about Kontrol's growth strategy. Now they've got 2 main areas of growth that they're focused on. So number 1 is organic growth through cross-sale opportunities and traditional interactions with their customers. The second one is really focused on M&A or acquisitions. So they've already completed 5 different acquisitions. Their average price to pick these companies up is about 4 times EBITDA. So very attractive valuations or prices that they're paying for their acquisition targets. And they're really targeting small businesses where the owner or managers are seeking to exit due to retirement. So they're able to get these companies at a great deal because the operators are looking to get out and they're motivated sellers. So I thought that was really interesting that they threw that in the deck here. And I'm excited to see how Kontrol manages to fold in future acquisitions as part of their overall growth strategy in the next couple of years. So to close things out here, you guys, now we're going to talk about the wild card at Kontrol Technologies, and that is BioCloud or their BioCloud solution. So what this does is it's a solution to detect airborne pathogens in public places. So if you can imagine, you'd install one of these units in a retirement home, a mall, a theater, airport, wherever the case is, and it's going to be able to remotely detect airborne pathogens such as, but not limited to, COVID-19. So obviously very relevant in today's world. And even after the pandemic has run its course, I think this is an area that a lot of people are going to give a lot of attention and focus on in the coming years because we've all seen the effects that air quality and airborne diseases or viruses can have on our society. So in terms of how the technology actually works, there's 5 main components within this BioCloud unit or solution. So the first is an air sampling pump to bring air into the unit. They've got a proprietary detection chamber and reagent that were designed in-house, the ability to detect pathogens using lasers, an air circulation fan, and obviously real-time monitoring and communication through the building's existing Wi-Fi or data network. Now, BioCloud has received over $2.5 million in grants. We just saw that $800,000 commitment from the Ontario Fund here after Q2. They've got 4 patents filed, 3 of which are in the US, 1 here in Canada. They've initiated production on these units, and they already have multiple distribution partners up and running, like we saw this summer with the Olympic Committee. So this slide here really shows the BioCloud user interface, so you can see very easy to read, interpret, and understand whether the air quality in the building is safe or not. And Kontrol really feels like continuous airborne viral detection will be the new norm for buildings and HVAC systems well into the future and beyond the current pandemic situation. And I couldn't agree more, you guys. I think there's going to be a huge appetite for this moving forward, and this is going to become a standard requirement in all commercial buildings. So time will tell how quickly Kontrol can build out their BioCloud platform and get these products or solutions integrated into buildings, but I truly do think this is a massive wildcard for this company, and if they're able to continue to roll out on a major scale in Canada and the US, we could start to see these units in virtually every commercial building across North America. And that ultimately leads us to this slide here, you guys, where we close out the video. So why invest in Kontrol and why do it now? So to recap, they've got a leadership position in a high growth market, which is ripe for consolidation. So whether it's the smart tech for buildings, energy efficiency, CO2 reduction, or the BioCloud solution itself, Kontrol really has emerged as a leader in this space. They've got a runway or roadmap to get to $100 million plus annual revenue within the next 3 fiscal years. They've got multiple revenue streams, 2 of which are recurring through their service and software platforms or categories. They've got a proven history of delivering real-time energy management, continuous emissions, and air quality monitoring in industrial and commercial facilities or applications. We talked about their high insider ownership, so a very low float, only 48 million common shares, 30% of which, or about 14.5 million shares, are held by insiders within the company. And then the final point, we saved the best for last here, you guys, their BioCloud solution, pathogen, airborne virus technology. So for those reasons, I definitely think KNR is worth a look here, you guys. This company definitely checks a number of boxes off on my personal list, and that's why I've added it to my watch list. As mentioned, I'll keep you guys posted if and when I do decide to pull the trigger and initiate a position in Kontrol Technologies. And as always, feel free to leave a comment in the section below on what you think of KNR, if you're currently holding shares, what you think about their BioCloud solution, and their growth prospects moving forward. Now, before I let you go, please remember to smash the like button, you guys. It really does help get this video to other people like yourself who may find value. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. In the video description below, you'll see a link to Questrade. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, you're thinking about investing, this is the first step, is you need to set up a trading account. Questrade is the one that I use. If you use the link below, you'll get a $50 credit towards your initial trade commission, so you get a handful of trades on the house. And if you have any questions about the platform itself, I'm always here to help. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and have a great rest of your day.